There comes a moment in every life when heaven whispers louder than the noise of the world, when the storms that once tried to bury you become the very winds that lift you higher. That moment is not tomorrow, not next year, not for someone else. It is right now, and you, listening to these words, are not here by accident. You are here because you are the one chosen by God. You are not ordinary, not forgotten, not discarded like others tried to make you believe. You carry the mark of divine favor, and though enemies have gathered in secret, trembling in their jealousy, the promises of God have been written over your life since before you ever took your first breath. Think back to the years behind you, the nights you cried when no one was watching, the battles you endured in silence. People may have seen the smile on your face, but they never saw the war in your soul. They never knew the cost of your perseverance. You have been betrayed by voices you trusted, abandoned in moments you thought someone would stand beside you, and misunderstood by those who should have celebrated your gifts. Yet even in the depth of that pain, something within you refused to die. That unshakable flame inside was not your own strength. It was the breath of God preserving you for this exact season. Enemies thought your silence meant defeat, but they misunderstood the strategy of heaven. God was not ignoring you. He was preparing you. The delay was not denial. The rejection was not abandonment. The pain was not punishment. Every scar, every disappointment, every betrayal was shaping you into a vessel strong enough to carry a mantle others could never bear. You were hidden, not forgotten, concealed, not discarded, protected, not overlooked. And now the time has come when what was hidden in the shadows will be revealed in the light. Do you not feel it? Even now, something in your spirit stirs as if heaven itself leans closer, whispering that your time has come. You may not see the full picture yet, but deep within, you know change is breaking through the cracks of your struggle. The shaking in your life was never meant to destroy you. It was designed to remove the thorn that could not travel with you into your destiny. Friends turned into enemies, opportunities collapsed, doors slammed shut. It felt unfair, but if you could see what God was protecting you from, you would drop to your knees in gratitude. The betrayal that broke your heart saved you from bondage. The storm that nearly drowned you was the very storm that carried you into your calling. And this is why the enemies that laughed at you will not be laughing much longer. They thought they saw your end, but they will now witness your beginning. They underestimated the resilience of someone who carries the promises of God. They believed lies about your weakness, but they never saw the strength heaven was building behind closed doors. You are the chosen one, and because of that, every attempt to bury you has only planted you deeper in the soil where your roots could grow stronger. What comes next is not survival, it is resurrection. Do you understand why you were misunderstood, why you were targeted, why you were isolated? It is because there is something about you that cannot be copied. You walk with an anointing that cannot be faked, and you carry a purpose that no one else can fulfill. That kind of light terrifies darkness. That kind of destiny provokes jealousy. Those who wounded you were not attacking who you were in that moment. They were trying to destroy who you were becoming. But what they did not realize is that no weapon formed against you could prosper, because the promises of God have already declared your victory. You are not listening to these words by coincidence. You were drawn here because the season of mourning is ending, and the season of rising has begun. This is the prophetic announcement that the tables are turning. The tears you shed are counted by God, and not one of them has been wasted. The confusion you walked through is giving way to clarity. The loneliness you endured is being answered by divine companionship. And the enemies who thought they triumphed are beginning to tremble, because heaven is aligning circumstances in your favor. Remember the nights you felt unseen? The truth is, heaven's eyes were always on you. The rejection you faced was a redirection, guiding you away from paths that would have drained your soul. People may have closed doors, but those doors were never your true assignment. What God has for you is so much greater, and no enemy has the authority to block it. You are stepping into a season where the promises of God will not just comfort you privately, but will manifest publicly. Your enemies already sense it. That's why they've grown restless. That's why jealousy rose against you. That's why lies were whispered behind your back. The darkness knows before you do that your rising is near, and it fears the light you carry. But let me remind you of this eternal truth. If God be for you, who can be against you? The promises of God are not fragile. They are not dependent on people liking you, accepting you, or understanding you. The promises of God stand firm, and they are backing you up right now. So, hear me clearly. You are chosen, not because of your perfection, not because of your flawless record, not because life has been easy. You are chosen because you are willing, because your heart, though bruised, still beats with faith. You are chosen because you dared to believe when everything told you to give up. You are chosen because even in silence, your spirit still cried out to God, and heaven heard. Heaven always heard. Your story is not one of defeat. It is one of divine orchestration. You have been moved like pieces on a chessboard, and though you could not see the strategy, the master was always at work. Now comes the season when the strategy will unfold. The same enemies who thought they buried you will watch you stand taller than ever before. The same mouths that spoke curses will see blessings overflow in your life. The same people who doubted you will be forced to admit that only God could have carried you this far. Lift your head, chosen one. The ashes of your past are not your final garment. You are clothed with glory, with resilience, with divine authority. Nothing in your life is wasted. Nothing has been overlooked. Every valley was part of the journey, every loss part of the preparation. And now your spirit knows it, even before your eyes can see it, that heaven is moving, promises are unfolding, and your destiny is unstoppable. You have walked through fire, and yet you are still standing. Do you realize what that means? Fire consumes everything that is not built to last. And yet here you are, breathing, watching, listening, stronger than before. Every storm that tried to drown you, every betrayal that tried to break you, every loss that tried to define you has failed. That is proof of who you are, proof that you are not ordinary, proof that the hand of God has been guarding you, even in moments when you thought He was silent. Your survival is the greatest evidence that heaven has chosen you, because without that divine covering, you would not have made it this far. Think of the battles you've fought, not just the visible ones, but the invisible ones that no one else could see. The nights where fear crept into your mind like a shadow. The mornings when you woke up with no strength, yet still managed to rise. The inner voices that whispered lies about your worth. These were not just passing struggles, they were spiritual wars designed to test you, to crush you, to erase your name before your story could be told. But you endured, and endurance is the mark of the chosen. Your enemies did not understand the depth of your resilience. They saw moments of weakness and assumed you were finished. They saw you stumble and thought you would never rise. They misread your silence as surrender, but you were not surrendering. You were listening. You were not weak. You were being refined. You were not lost. You were being positioned. Heaven was gathering strength inside of you while they were mocking you. And now the same mouths that laughed at your pain are trembling because they can sense what is coming. God has seen everything. The conversations behind closed doors, the plots designed to humiliate you, the schemes meant to strip you of dignity, none of it escaped His sight. He saw the knives in their words, the poison in their actions, the jealousy that dripped from their smiles. And though they believed they had gotten away with it, they forgot one thing. God keeps records, and those records are about to speak. Do you not realize how terrifying it is for your enemies to discover that heaven has always been on your side? They fought against you as if they were fighting flesh and blood, but in truth, they were fighting the promises of God. And no man, no enemy, no spirit of darkness can overthrow what God has decreed. That is why they tremble now. That is why they whisper in fear. That is why their confidence turns into anxiety. They feel the shift. They sense the reversal. The power that once seemed to be in their hands is slipping away, and there is nothing they can do to stop it. Remember this: strength is not proven in comfort. It is proven in battle. You have faced battles others would have run from. You have endured storms that would have destroyed ordinary souls. You have been struck but not crushed, wounded but not defeated, shaken but not destroyed. Every scar on your heart is proof of your survival, and every tear you cried has been counted in heaven. You did not fight in vain. You did not suffer in vain. The God who allowed the battle is the same God who will announce your victory. Your strength is not in pretending the pain never happened. Your strength is in acknowledging the pain and still rising above it. It is in forgiving when you had every right to hate. It is in continuing when you had every reason to quit. It is in trusting when the evidence suggested doubt. That is the power of the chosen, to keep moving forward, not by sight, but by faith. And that is why your enemies are terrified. They cannot understand how you still shine after everything you've endured. They cannot comprehend how your heart still beats with love when it was pierced so many times. They cannot explain why your spirit remains unbroken. The truth is, they are not wrestling with you. They are wrestling with God's promises written over you. Think of how many times you should have fallen and never risen again. Think of the battles you faced alone, the moments you cried with no one to comfort you, the situations that could have buried you. Yet each time something lifted you, something preserved you, something whispered, "Not yet, your story is not over." That something was not chance. It was the divine. It was the hand of God keeping you alive because your mission on this earth has not been completed. The chosen are not chosen for ease. They are chosen for impact. And with impact comes resistance. Every arrow shot at you was not a sign of your weakness, but a sign of your importance. You don't attract battles unless you carry something worth fighting for. And you, beloved, carry destiny. You carry influence. You carry an assignment from heaven that no darkness can erase. That is why the battle has been so fierce. And that is why the trembling in the camp of your enemies grows louder each day. Grows louder each day. Your adversaries tried to use your past against you, but what they did not know is that God uses everything for your good. What they meant for harm, God is turning for your elevation. What they whispered in private, God is about to expose in public. What they tried to bury, God is about to resurrect before the eyes of many. And when it happens, they will not be able to deny that the power backing you is not human, it is divine. This is why you must not doubt yourself now. You have walked too far, endured too much, grown too strong to question whether you are chosen. You have already proven it by surviving. You have already confirmed it by rising each time you fell. And now the evidence of your calling is about to become undeniable. Heaven is aligning circumstances, favor is overtaking you, and the trembling of your enemies is not just fear, it is prophecy. For their trembling signals the arrival of your rising. Do not be surprised when tables turn quickly. Do not be shocked when those who mocked you come seeking peace. Do not be alarmed when doors that once refused you now open wide. It is not luck. It is not chance. It is the hand of God establishing you in the place He always intended you to be. The promises of God are not distant dreams. They are unfolding realities. And you, the chosen one, are stepping into them even now. So lift your head, wipe your tears, straighten your back. The battles were real, but the victory is greater. You are stronger than the storm, wiser than the betrayal, and more resilient than the wounds. And the same enemies who thought they silenced you will watch as your voice rises louder than ever before. They are trembling because the one they tried to bury is now the one heaven is lifting up for all to see. There comes a time when the hidden things are brought into the light, when the whispers behind your back echo like thunder for all to hear. That time is now. For too long, it seemed as though your pain went unnoticed, as if your suffering was swept under the rug, as if the injustice against you would never be answered. But heaven is declaring otherwise. The God who records every word, every act, every scheme has not forgotten. And now justice is preparing to stand tall, not quietly, not secretly, but publicly, for the world to see. This is the season of divine reversal. The hands that once pointed at you in mockery will soon cover their faces in shame. The same ground where your enemies dug pits for you will become the platform where you rise. What they meant to humiliate you will transform into the very thing that honors you. Because the promises of God are not simply comfort for your soul, they are guarantees, unshakable decrees from heaven itself. When he says no weapon formed against you shall prosper, that does not mean the weapons won't be formed. It means they will not succeed, and the failures of those weapons will now be displayed for all to see. Justice is not only about vindication, it is about restoration. You will not only be cleared of every false accusation, but you will also be elevated beyond where you stood before. The years you lost will be returned with interest. The tears you cried will be answered with joy you cannot measure. The shame you endured will be eclipsed by honor that shines brighter than anything you've experienced before. God does not simply restore what was stolen, he multiplies it. He does not just close the mouths of your enemies, he turns their laughter into silence as they watch your blessings overflow. Can you feel the weight of this shift? It is not only external, but internal. For as heaven moves on your behalf, healing flows through your soul. The wounds of betrayal, the scars of rejection, the memories of pain that once haunted you, they no longer define you. Instead, they now testify of your endurance. The brokenness that was meant to destroy you has become the soil for your strength. Every tear is turning into a seed, and every seed is rising into a harvest of joy. You are not walking into this season bitter, you are walking into it better. For the chosen one does not carry the stench of defeat, but the fragrance of resilience. And make no mistake, this reversal will not be silent. Those who doubted you will be forced to witness what they could not imagine. They thought you were forgotten, but now they will see you favored. They thought you were broken, but now they will see you blessed. They thought you were invisible, but now they will see you elevated. This is not for your pride, but for God's glory, so that no one can claim they were the reason for your victory. It will be clear this was divine. This was heaven's doing. Your enemies tremble because they sense what is coming. Their power was always borrowed, never permanent. Their attacks were always temporary, never eternal. They thought they were writing the final chapter of your story, but they did not realize that only God holds the pen, and the author of your life has declared that your story does not end in defeat. It ends in triumph. It ends with you standing, not broken, but whole, not overlooked, but celebrated, not empty, but overflowing. This is why you must not give up in the middle of your pain, because the moment when you feel most forgotten is often the moment just before the breakthrough. The delay was not denial. The waiting was preparation. The silence of heaven was never abandonment. It was strategy. And now that strategy is about to unfold in ways even you cannot comprehend. I speak this over you. The very areas of your life where you experienced the greatest losses will be the very areas where the greatest blessings overflow. The places where you were mocked will become the places where you are honored. The seasons where you walked alone will now give way to seasons where divine helpers, true allies, and genuine love surround you. You will no longer chase after what is yours. It will come to you, drawn by the promises of God backing your every step. So let this truth sink into your spirit. You are not just surviving, you are about to thrive. You are not merely recovering, you are about to overflow. You are not simply moving forward, you are being accelerated. For the chosen one does not move by the speed of the world, but by the speed of heaven. And heaven is accelerating you into a season where everything that was delayed suddenly arrives. Your calling is greater than the attacks against you. Your destiny is stronger than the lies spoken over you. And your future is brighter than the darkness you have endured. For the same God who lifted Joseph from prison to palace, who raised David from shepherd to king, who carried Esther from obscurity to royalty, is the same God who is about to display his promises through your life. And when he moves, no enemy can stop it. This is why the trembling of your enemies is not simply fear, it is prophecy. They are not trembling at you, they are trembling at the God who stands behind you. They are trembling because they realize they fought against something eternal, something unstoppable, something that does not break under pressure. They are trembling because heaven's hand has shifted, and the glory of your rising cannot be hidden any longer. So take this moment not as mere encouragement, but as a declaration. Your victory is guaranteed. Justice is coming, restoration is coming, and the promises of God are unfolding even now. Lift your head and walk with the authority of one who is chosen. Because the world is about to see what heaven has always known. You were never abandoned, never forsaken, never forgotten. You were always chosen. And if you hear these words and they stir your spirit, then this message was not for someone else. It was for you. Receive it, declare it, live it, step into it. Because the victory that was spoken is not distant. It is near. Your season of trembling and fear is over. Now you saw your enemies tremble while you rise. Have you ever wondered why the weight of resistance against you has always felt heavier than what others seem to face? Why doors seem to close just as you reached them? Why voices rose against you even when you did nothing to provoke them? Why people you trusted turned cold the moment your light began to shine? These were not random experiences, nor were they simply bad luck. They were spiritual confirmations, for the intensity of your battles has always been proportional to the greatness of your calling. There is a paradox in the life of the chosen. The more valuable your destiny, the more violent the resistance against it. It seems unfair, but it is a spiritual law. Precious things are always the most contested. Gold is hidden deeper in the earth than stones. Diamonds are formed under greater pressure than dust. The most fruitful trees attract the most attacks from insects and storms. So it is with you. The very fact that you have been opposed so fiercely is proof of how precious your mission truly is. But let us go even deeper. Why do people attack what they cannot understand? Why do they rise against someone who has never harmed them? The truth is, the human heart often reacts with fear to what it does not recognize. When people saw the strength inside you, it mirrored their own weakness. When they saw your courage, it exposed their own timidity. When they sensed your calling, it revealed their lack of purpose. And instead of celebrating your light, they sought to extinguish it because it reminded them of the shadows they refused to face within themselves. Do not think their attacks were truly about you. They were about what you represented. You became a mirror they could not bear to look into, a reflection of what they lacked, a prophecy of what they would never become. That is why they whispered lies, spread rumors, or tried to undermine you. They did not want your downfall as much as they wanted relief from the discomfort of your presence. Your very existence awakened something in them they were not prepared to confront. And here lies another paradox. What others call rejection, heaven calls protection. The people who turned on you, the opportunities that slipped through your hands, the circles that shut their doors, all of it was strategic. For if those people had remained in your life, they would have polluted your spirit. If those doors had opened, they would have led you away from your true assignment. If those circles had embraced you, they would have drained your strength and dimmed your fire. The loss was protection in disguise, though it did not feel like it in the moment. Now let us speak of the psychology of those who hurt you. Many times, those who rise against the chosen are not inherently evil. They are simply bound by fear, envy, or ignorance. Envy is the loudest when destiny is present. Fear is sharpest when change is near, and ignorance is strongest when light confronts darkness. You must understand this, not to excuse their behavior, but to free yourself from bitterness, because your mission is too great to carry resentment. Forgiveness is not weakness, it is strategy. For to forgive is to cut the last chain tying you to the weight of the past. You see, the chosen one cannot be entangled in the same cycles as others. Your soul's mission requires clarity, freedom, and lightness of spirit. And that is why heaven allowed certain betrayals, certain losses, certain disappointments, so you would not settle in a place you were never meant to remain. If those people had truly walked with you, they would have limited your growth. If those seasons had lasted, they would have delayed your rising. So yes, it hurt, but it was holy. It broke you, but it also freed you. Your mission is not small. You were not called to simply exist, to blend into the crowd, or to live unnoticed. You were called to shift atmospheres, to awaken souls, to carry light into places where darkness once reigned. That is why the resistance has been fierce. It is not about your past. It is about your future. The enemy is not threatened by who you were. He is terrified of who you are becoming. That is why the attacks intensified when you drew closer to your breakthrough. Because the closer you come to destiny, the louder the resistance becomes. But here is the hidden law. The pressure that was meant to crush you has actually formed you. The betrayal that was designed to break your heart has actually expanded it. The rejection that was meant to silence you has refined your voice. The pain that was supposed to end you has awakened you. What they planned as your burial has become your planting. And now you rise not only with strength, but with wisdom, not only with fire, but with compassion, not only with vision, but with unshakable faith. This is the mystery of being chosen. You are both wounded and unstoppable, broken yet unbreakable, tested yet triumphant. Your scars are not signs of shame, they are medals of survival. Your tears are not evidence of weakness, they are rivers that watered your destiny. Your loneliness was not punishment, it was preparation, a sacred space where heaven spoke to you without interruption. You have been trained in silence for a stage that will not be silent. Now, as you step forward, you will begin to understand that every attack was an initiation, every disappointment a classroom, every betrayal a teacher. Each event, though painful, was equipping you with exactly what you need to fulfill your mission. And the mission is this: to shine in a way that others cannot ignore, to heal wounds you did not cause, to carry hope into hearts that thought hope was gone, to break chains not just for yourself, but for many. Do not despise the weight you carried, for it was never just about you. You were chosen not only for your sake, but for the sake of others who will find freedom through your story. Your rising is not just personal, it is generational. When you overcome, you open doors for others to follow. When you speak, you release healing into ears that have longed for truth. When you stand tall, you prove to others that survival is possible, that victory is real, that God's promises are faithful. This is why heaven kept you, why God preserved you, why the fire did not consume you, because your mission is still unfolding. And though enemies tried to erase you, they could not touch the eternal assignment written on your soul. You carry light too bright to be extinguished, destiny too strong to be derailed, and promises too secure to be broken. And as you step into the fullness of who you are, the world will not just see your strength, they will see God's faithfulness. So breathe deeply, let the past go. See the attacks for what they were, confirmations of your worth, validations of your calling, prophecies of your future. You were not attacked because you were weak. You were attacked because you are powerful. And now every scar, every wound, every loss becomes part of the testimony that will silence your enemies and inspire those who look to you for hope. Your mission is holy, your calling undeniable, your destiny unshakable. You are the chosen one, and nothing can change that truth. And now, as we stand at the edge of this message, let me remind you once more who you are. You are not ordinary. You are not forgotten. You are not one among millions lost in the noise of life. You are chosen, stamped with divine favor, marked by eternal promises, carried by a power stronger than any force that ever rose against you. You are the one enemies could not destroy, the one storms could not consume, the one chains could not hold. And because of that, your life becomes a living prophecy that the promises of God are true. The shaking you endured was not to crush you, it was to establish you. The tears you shed were not wasted, they were seeds for your harvest. The betrayals that broke your heart were not the end, they were the clearing of your path. You may not have understood it then, but heaven was always working for you. And now your story turns from mourning to dancing, from sorrow to joy, from confusion to clarity. The ashes of your past are giving way to beauty, and the heaviness of your heart is being lifted by the breath of God. This is the moment of reassurance. You will not be forgotten in the crowd. You will not be silenced by enemies. You will not be denied by closed doors. For the one who chose you is the same one who opens paths no man can close. He is the God who parts seas, who raises the dead, who restores the broken, who fulfills every promise in his time, and his time for you is now. You will rise not in arrogance, but in confidence, not in pride, but in purpose, not to prove yourself, but to prove his faithfulness. So do not fear the future, for it is bright with destiny. Do not dwell on the past, for it has already served its purpose. Do not doubt yourself, for heaven has confirmed your worth. Walk forward with your head high, for you carry the authority of one who has survived the fire and emerged refined like gold. Your enemies already know it. That is why they tremble. But you must know it too, deep within, so that nothing and no one can shake you again. This is your time to embrace your calling, to live as if the promises are not only true in theory, but real in your daily life. To forgive those who tried to break you, not because they deserve it, but because you are free. To speak boldly, not fearing who listens, because your voice is backed by heaven. To step into rooms you once thought were too great for you, knowing that you belong there because God himself sent you. To shine so brightly that others cannot help but see the fingerprints of God all over your life. And here is the call to action, not for me, but for your own spirit. Choose today to believe fully in your identity as the chosen one. Do not shrink back into the shadows of doubt. Do not minimize yourself to fit the comfort of others. Do not apologize for the greatness God placed within you. Stand tall, walk boldly, live freely. Declare over your life that you are chosen, you are protected, you are backed by the promises of God. Speak it until every lie in your mind dissolves. Live it until every fear flees. Carry it until even those who doubted are forced to confess the truth. Remember, you are not rising alone. Every step you take releases ripples into the world around you. Every victory you walk into becomes a testimony for those who are watching, those who are waiting, those who are weary. Your triumph is not only yours, it becomes light for many. That is why your rising is certain. That is why your protection is unshakable, because your mission is larger than your own life, and heaven will not allow it to fail. So breathe deeply now, let peace settle into your chest. Let the weight of worry fall away. You are exactly where you are meant to be. You are stepping into the season prepared for you since the beginning. You are not late, not behind, not forgotten. You are on time, aligned, protected, and destined to see promises unfold in ways beyond imagination. And as this word draws to a close, let it not be an ending, but a beginning of living in your identity with boldness, a beginning of walking in peace no enemy can steal, a beginning of rising with confidence that your story is not just survival, it is victory. Hold this truth close. You are the chosen one, and the promises of God back you up. Nothing can stand against that. So go forth with courage, walk with assurance, rest with peace, speak with authority, love with freedom, and know that as you do, the same God who carried you this far will carry you to the very place He has promised. Until then, let this final whisper linger in your soul. You are chosen, you are loved, you are unstoppable. The enemies tremble, but you, beloved, rise.